this intro. And Sean, of course, you know, Sean, we had our first shout out coming from Oakland. Ronald Uggan over there, so someone kind of familiar with your neck of the woods. And of course, your background is Oakland A's green. Very, very nice, very subtle.
I grew up just down the street in San Leandro, and I think San Leandro is probably listening to the show.
Okay. Do I even dare ask if you're cheering for the Warriors?
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I? To be honest, I'm going to always. Doesn't matter if they moved. I understand the arena is really nice too, so it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, one day I would actually. Did you ever go to the old Oakland arena when the Warriors were still technically in Oakland?
No, it's so funny that you know, and it's just like many things in Bay Area sports. You get to do a lot of things, but sometimes you just don't get to go watch a Warriors game. It's funny. I think I went to only really one NBA game. That was the San Antonio Spurs. But it's, you know, obviously growing up down the street, watching it, listening to it on the radio. I think that's the one thing, Jay, I think I'll miss out on, is that the Bay Area radio was very big, and I listened to most of the games on the radio. The radio was way more exciting, believe it or not, at time. I mean, you can get a ticket, all those things, but radio, I mean, we're being streamed on all over the world, obviously, but nothing beats radio in terms of how you want to listen to a basketball game.
Certain calls. I mean, I've listened to several Super Bowls over the years, like with the radio. You know, what was that? A Westwood One radio network.
Right.
That's the big one that.
For sure. And
that's the one that Jim Gray works
for. It can't be radio. Radio's awesome.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah. I'm sorry. Good morning to Uncle Ken and good morning to Joe, sir. I know you guys are working hard there. You just can't be all Jason all day, all the time, right? So good morning to them and good morning to all of you guys on the link.
Morning, boss.
Morning.
Okay, Claire Castro was saying 98th Avenue, hometown back in the day. Very nice.
That's right.
Where's 98th Ave, Sean?
It's just down the road from where I grew up on Davis Street in San Leandro. So it's just right before you get to the Coliseum. Pretty cool.
Okay, nice. Well, okay, the Oakland Coliseum where the A's play, that's literally right across the street from where the Warriors used to play, right?
Yeah, they're actually the arena and the stadium. I think I probably watched more maybe car shows. I went to many more car shows, concerts, you name it. But you know, basketball season wasn't. I mean, baseball season obviously, but you know, yes, right next door. Oh, and also the circus. You can't forget having the circus at the arena as well. The Ringling Brothers always had their circus at the arena. Pretty cool stuff. I
always wanted to check one of those out, and you know, I didn't get a chance to see the circus when they came to Guam, but I heard it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, those very fantastic times back in those days. Growing up in the Bay Area.
Yeah. Now, real quick, I want to address the elephant in the room, or I guess appropriately, the elephant or the donkey, depending on how you look at it. You can see where we're going with that, right? But real quick, Sean, I was mentioning, you know, like my classmates. I've not seen anything from any of the classes of '92. You know, you're going to see a lot of signs up, you know, political signs probably in the next few weeks or a couple months. But is there anything down in your neck of the woods? Because you know, you're in the South. Is there anything from like Notre Dame? Anybody advertising anything? You know, Ocean View was a high school back then. Notre Dame was still an all-girls school at the time. But I've not seen anything from anybody that graduated the year I do. So, hey, if you guys have any plans for like a 92 reunions and everything like that, please let us know. We'd love to mention it.
Jay's just a little bored. He's so busy with other stuff that he wants a little bit of a break from all of that. So, no, nothing from Notre Dame at this point. But as a dad of 3 alumni, I haven't heard anything yet. And I think most people are talking about, Jay, about, you know, as we're returning to somewhat of this bit of normalcy, you're starting to see more and more planning for these events. And just want to encourage everyone to be safe, you know, when they do these things. And obviously it's going to be kind of slow going for a while. But man, because the isolation was so rough.
Yeah.
But then again, it goes back to just be safe and, you know, it should be a lot of fun. And speaking of donkeys and elephants, you know, the political parties are planning parties and the like.
There you go.
You know, it is what it is now, as Chris would say, but it's happening. And again, encourage them to be safe too.
Okay, so let's go ahead and address this real quick. And again, my other conspiracy theory, and you're going to see a lot of those too probably in the next several months, is maybe my class is actually planning our reunion. They just haven't told me. And I'm getting like snot. So it would literally be high school all over again, right? Speaking of which, Joy VQ was saying, good morning, and then the sunflower emoji, 30 years Simon Sanchez High School. Hell yeah. Proud to be a Shark. Shark for life. Okay, so now let us address...
listening to the show. That's good.
Yeah, let us address this, Sean. When Sabrina made her now famous announcement, or basically when the announcement like got out. I mean, I've heard that, you know, WhatsApp was going crazy and everything like that. You know, you've covered politics directly as a KUAM employee, and then as a ad hoc analyst for many years, which we appreciate. You were also Sabrina's co-anchor for a significant amount of time before I was, and everything like that. So before we get into, you know, the political, or the reaction from the political following community and everything like that, what were your personal thoughts when you heard that?
My personal thoughts were, when I heard that she was going to take that leap, I was pretty shocked, but also very excited. You know, she is, as you know, Jay, and we can both attest, she has been our closest friend for just almost 30 years now. And so this big leap to go do something very exciting. I remember you mentioned it a little bit, how, or we were kind of off camera talking about, you know, the impacts to the newsroom, trying to draw that comparison. Really, with her, it's so different, as she's going to take on or looking at a political career. But what it did was it drew a primary, which I think is probably the most important part of it all. The political camps are doing their thing to be able to respond, and for them, you know, and for Sabrina and for Mike, wish them well. The biggest thing is just getting right to the heart and soul of what the campaign is going to be about. And I think we're all excited, aren't we? I mean, as this program, I think Chris mentioned it a couple weeks ago, getting the after party going and talking more about the tactics and the strategies moving forward. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun over the next couple of months.
So, of course, Shawn, plans are now being assembled, you know, reactions and responses are being cobbled together, you know, as you expect they would. I would say that announcement when Sabrina said she was stepping down from KUAM to run as, you know, Mike St. Nicholas's running mate as his lieutenant governor. For now, in the more aggregate, the more larger political community, which is huge on Guam and everything like that, do you have a sense of what it was like in those conversations, and like, you know, how did it affect them, and what was the overall sentiment?
Yeah, so just so you know, I just happened to be driving around town Monday night, but I drove by the Leon Guerrero Tenorio headquarters, and it was packed. So, you know, the meeting of the minds was happening in terms of what is about to happen. The whole announcement kind of put everyone into overdrive. The interesting thing is the dynamic, right? Is getting the word out, knowing that, you know, we have a race, a three-way race, if you will, but more so a primary. And then you're looking at across the board, how are people going to react? Are they going to stay home? Meaning, are they going to stay in their party and vote and get their people on the ballot? Are they going to jump over? Now, people aren't being directed, you must jump over. That isn't going to happen. But there are things that are going to happen, is the campaign to say, hey, we need to make sure so-and-so wins. And that's happening. That doesn't mean that they're forcing people to jump ship or to not stay home and vote for their party. They're just encouraging a behavior that we'll definitely see. I think, Jay, my biggest concern of all this, and we've been talking about this for a really long time, is the voter turnout. Just last week, I think it is, the Guam Election Commission finally got over the 50,000, I believe it's 50,000 voter registration mark. At this time in the year, when it hits, if it's not any higher than that, that is not a good sign for the general election, meaning that there's a strong chance that we won't see a larger turnout, meaning more people registering to vote, as we would see in the past. But it's also meaning that there's a strong chance that the voter turnout itself, it could be somewhere around what we saw when Governor Leon Guerrero was elected 4 years ago.
Would you say, Shawn, that maybe because of the nature of, you know, coming off of a 2-year pandemic, which was behaviorally, you know, physically, economically so taxing on the people and everything, that it actually is a disadvantage to be an incumbent in one of these elections, because everybody, you know, justifiably or no, the average taxpayer and the average citizen is going to say, you know, we went through that, it lasted 2 years. Why did we not get through it sooner? Why did we not get our money? You know, I mean, they have a whole laundry list and everything, and they're going to say, they're just going to point fingers at people who were in office and say, okay, I'm going to hold you responsible for that. So would luck, or would, you know, marketing, however you want to frame it, you know, would that actually favor non-incumbents? Or do incumbents still have the upper hand because they're sitting?
Yeah, the incumbent does have the advantage, right? Because they have the bully pulpit. They're able to go on, talk about what they're doing. They have the control of the executive branch to do things. They can do road construction. They can do a new program launch. They can announce grants. That is something that the challengers are just not able to do. They can only contrast leadership. They can contrast their abilities and their plans for the next 4 years. And if it in fact jives with the community's want to see something different today. And that's going to be the challenge for the next, 6+ months in terms of getting people to, one, to listen. And then second is to take that and then take it into the voting booth and vote for public office. I think that's going to be the key. I think we all, including you and I included, and we can say it right now, everyone, go and register to vote, and when it's time in August, then in November, to make sure that you vote, and that's the biggest thing that can be done. And I've never seen so much interest, Jay, in a bit a long time. Interest in this campaign. I think in all the time I've been here, I haven't seen this kind of interest. So it's really exciting to what the next couple months are going to play out before us.
So much interest because there's so much of a buzz this early out. I mean, we're only in the mid part of April, or just interest in general, because I mean there's hype now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of it, right? And so whether you're looking at your favorite attorney general candidate, which again, those nonpartisan races are also happening as well. You're looking at, what of your friends or family are running for the Guam legislature would be how you want policy to be laid out over the next 2 years. That's kind of pretty exciting too. But obviously the leading of the community, the leading of the executive branch of government, and how it interacts with the other two branches is really up for grabs, and it's at stake. And if you are maybe on the fence, or you really are just trying to figure out what's going on, listen to what the candidates are saying, look at their track records perhaps if you want to, but really it's about exercising that right that you have. The most powerful right you have as a citizen of Guam and the United States is to exercise your right to vote. And I would encourage everyone out there, if you haven't done so, go get registered. But when it's time, go out and vote.
Now, Shawn, of course, you are the host of the That's It, That's All podcast, a very, very good audio show that we have on the KUAM Podcast Network. You can actually find it. You normally put your episodes out on Fridays, and they generally tend to talk about this time of year about like politics. Given the revelation that we now saw on Tuesday, did you have to scrap your episode and like record a whole new one, or?
Oh man, no, I have to stick to the one I'm doing, but I think that then the next one will be about what we're seeing today and the dynamic, and also just my perspective. Actually, Jay, it's so interesting. I've been spending a lot of my time. And this is more of a gratuitous plug for myself, but next week I'll be speaking before the Guam Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really excited about that opportunity to be able to talk to the members of the chamber, and much of it had to do with the podcast. So it's most of my focus, as my students at UOG know. I've been telling them as they're prepping for their final speech of the semester with my CO210 classes, I'm also preparing for a big speech of my own. So I'm really excited about that. And much of my focus has been on that, and probably going to use that as one of the podcasts as well. But yes, it's pretty exciting times here in Talafofo, getting ready for the next couple of weeks. So, but yes, the podcast will definitely pivot. The next one will pivot toward this now primary that we have currently with the Democrats here in Guam.
Sure. Now, I appreciate that you brought that up, the fact that you are are you still assistant professor, adjunct professor over at UOG now?
Oh, I'm an adjunct over an instructor at the University of Guam. Been doing this, I think this is almost 10 years now.
I was going to say, you're up for tenure, I would think, at this point.
No. I mean, unless you're promoting me, Jay, and I think Dr. Selman and the rest of the group are going to be like, hey, I'm just trying to do my part in supporting the Division of Communications, Fine Arts, and the like, and media. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I enjoy being with the students face to face, right? It's been interesting. Very few classes are face to face. I'm one of them, and it's been a definite experience, encouraging our students to keep learning and keep thinking about what their dreams are. Obviously, to finish their degrees at the University of Guam.
Yeah, how many case studies, Shawn? Because you've always been someone, even after you got out of the news and after you stopped working for the Camacho administration, where you have to, you have the paper every day. Now you've got an iPad every day, and like you're looking at what everybody's reporting. jot that down, keep it in the back of your mind. You've always stayed on top of current events, and it's who you are. How many like case studies did you take and directly incorporate, into your class? Like, oh, guys, this just happened like last night. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the ramifications. Let's talk about what it could mean for the community.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that I don't look at it in terms of case studies, but then, encouraging my students to actually take a look at things outside of what they're doing normally. You'd be surprised, Jay, that a lot of the students at the University of Guam, much of their time is on their phones.
There you go.
And they're actually way more interested in what is what's happening with the Grammys, the Oscars, what's the newest K-drama out. They're looking at their life is focused on school and how they're going to be entertained per se when they're not studying. And you can appreciate this as a student now.
Sure.
But the idea is trying to get our students at the University of Guam to kind of think about those issues today. Some have they can't avoid it because I think their parents are listening to the link as they're doing what they're doing, or they're reading the newspapers of the day. But our students are kind of focused and trying to get them to put their head up for a second. Hey, did you see this? And some of them get, but honestly, it's an honest, no, I didn't check that. And you're like, what? How are you not checking? So you, as a professor, and as a adjunct, we try to continue to encourage our students to keep an eyeball out and listen and hear what's going on.
And this is absolutely, this is absolutely not a new phenomenon, because I remember, I've had the good fortune of being able to go directly at street level. Joe Sir and I have covered the Liberation Day Parade, for many, many years. And it was maybe about 6 years ago, I think, that I was with one of our videographers, and we were going around, getting, some testimonials from kids and saying, hey, can you guys say like Happy Liberation Day? We'll put you guys on, we'll put you guys on TV and you guys will be on the radio. And they're like, can you guys put us on Instagram too? And he started to shift to that. And, and just seeing how the attention and, what platforms people prefer and, how people choose to interact with each other. I would think more pressure would be on you as an educator to say, can you empathize with them and can you talk to them on their level?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, for me, doing it, I learn something every day just as they learn from me. And I think that, the way that we are pushing out this particular course at the University of Guam, it allows them to kind of open their minds to what's happening, not only locally, but around the world, and communications theory. Obviously, right now, we're looking at public speaking. It's a speech time of the year. So for us, it's about focusing on having them focus on, this bigger task of this amongst everything they're doing at the University of Guam. And I know my students listen because we talk about it all the time. They know they're watching to some extent.
Well, shout out to Professor Gumataotao's students if you guys are watching right now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, but they're doing their best as they're going about their days. But it is challenging. Many of them just keep their head down and are like, well, what do you mean that's happening? Because they're just trying to get a degree, and we can't fault them. We want them to come up for air and see the rest of the island once in a while. But they're just some really hardworking students right now at the university, and I'm very happy for them, happy for their families. They should know that these are young ones, Jay. These are like the freshmen, sophomores who are just starting out their college careers. So they're just trying to figure out, hey, where do I get my books? Where do I figure out things? They're just trying to understand what's happening at UOG, and they're doing a fantastic job so far. The semester's getting close to being over. And again, kudos to all the University of Guam students. And I hope that and I'm sure there's going to be a graduation too. And it's going to be exciting times on campus. That's for sure.
There you go. So that's Shawn Gumataotao, everybody. Interesting comment. I want to read this one, Shawn, because this is very germane. And you were speculating about who has the advantage in this year's election. Is it the incumbents or is it the non-incumbents? Rosemary Laguana says track records on behavior and performance will outweigh what future plans are at this point. I think that's a very fair argument. Certainly there are going to be a lot of people who feel that way.
Oh, absolutely. I think people are going to be looking at who's going to be able to hold that job and do it well for 4 years, and do they have the fortitude, if you will. But also plans are also a big thing, because people want to know what is the outlook for the next couple of years, and if it fits what they're all about and they feel this is what they want to put their leaders to task on, then I think you're also going to get that behavior is going to be driven about that as well. And and it's exciting. I think that's where you're going to see a lot of contrast between the three candidates for governor. You're going to see that across the board and how the parties will depict their choices for the Guam legislature. And don't worry, the guys that are mixing it up for the attorney general and all the other nonpartisan races, they're going to do plenty of that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not only a gubernatorial election, obviously, but this is one where we'll be electing, the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, Guam Education Board, all the mayors, all the vice mayors. Basically,
well, no, I think the mayors and vice mayors were taking a bit of a seat, right? I think there's a little bit more time left for them.
Oh, is this not a mayoral and vice mayor? Okay, I stand corrected.
This is the off year, right? So so you have the governor, the legislature, the big ticket, and the attorney general of Guam. I think that's the really big one as well. And
there's certainly enough to keep you occupied.
Oh my goodness! I think all of us right here, here listening to you on the link and KUAM, the whole KUAM family, we're all going to be focused as a group, trying to keep up with what's happening on this whole entire season, and very exciting times, I think. And everyone should get behind it and start to understand the issues and then make some really good choices when you guys get into the ballot box. Click.
Well, real quick, Shawn, I wanted to share an anecdote with you because I remember when because so many people, myself included, spent many years watching KUAM, and they watched it was Bree and Shawn every night. Sabrina Salas Matanani, Shawn Gumataotao bringing you guys the news. You started out in sports and then went over to news. I started out doing the website. I started, anchoring the news and everything. People have been reaching out to me, and I appreciate each and every one saying, hey, I know your partner's moving on to other things and everything. Are you okay? And it's been hard because it was abrupt. But we wish her well. She's always been very good at everything she does. Obviously, I could go on and on and on. Personally, like you said, she's been a dear friend of ours. So to leave the company where we've literally seen each other for 22 straight years has been difficult. But I wanted to ask you, right? I mean, I've got my own experience, having now lost my broadcast partner. Do you know what she did when you announced that one day back in 2002 when you said she as your supervisor and said, hey, boss, I got to have a talk with you and everything. Then you turned in your resignation to say that you were going to work for the Camacho administration. Do you know what she did after that?
She actually had great pause too. So it wasn't like, and I was very grateful to.
She went shopping at Macy's for 3 straight hours. I don't know if you know that. She called me later on the day. She's like, hey, can you pick me up at the mall? I was like, hey, where are you? And she's like, oh, I've been at Macy's because, Shawn's leaving. I was like, oh, damn.
No, it was talking with Sabrina, talking to Marie Calvo-Monge and to Joey Calvo at the time. It was, it was hard, and I think that the whole tone changes because you're basically saying you're going to go do this for something else. But they're very encouraging, and I think it's very exciting for her. I know that this is going to take a lot of time for everyone at the KUAM family to process, but also it's going to take a lot of time for our community and all of the faithful listeners here on the link and the like to process, because it's a kind of a big void. I think early on, Jay, I think the first day there was an empty chair for a while, and if you look at the mic where on the across from you, it was empty, and so obviously, no one can take that place for now. But there's always going to be that someone that'll be able to step up. I mean, think about this, Jay. I mean, you and Sabrina, if I'm not mistaken, outside of maybe Nestor and Ginger Crunden, you guys probably were on the air the longest of any of the broadcast duos. So I'm in all too, Jay. Don't get me wrong.
For those of you guys who are old school Guamanians, you might remember Nestor Lacanto, and yeah, she was Ginger Crunden at the time, and then became Ginger Cruz. They shared the set together for 10 years. Sabrina and I were 20.
Yeah, see, and so I mean, mine and hers it was a pretty long partnership, but obviously it's way different. And kudos to you, Jay, and obviously Sabrina in that seat for such a long time. But also kudos to our community, because then for all of us, we got to have a peek into what you guys were all about and what KUAM was trying to accomplish. A very good time to be watching and a viewer and a consumer of the KUAM news products all across the board, multimedia side, right? And again, it's going to take time. It's kind of like folks who don't drink coffee anymore or don't smoke cigarettes. It's going to be tough. You're going to go through some withdrawals, but at some point, it's even funny.
I mean, it literally was a cold turkey separation. I'm not going to lie.
Oh yeah, but a lot of my friends and people like me, like could be coming down the road or even in the village, and people say, "Hey, boy, are you not on the TV anymore?" And I was like, Aide, it's been over 20 years. And you say, you know, just being polite. But I said, I still work with my friends over at KUAM, but it's going to be a while. But we all, as a community and as listeners of this great program, it's, you know, we got people like Tomas Manglonia and all the team down, you know, in the newsroom, Nestor and Hannah Devanzo and all those other folks. They're all going to be brought to bear upon what's happening with the link. Oh, you can't forget Chris Barnett, right? No. I mean, let's be honest. Chris is still there too.
Did he just message you on the side and said, "Hey, don't forget about me"? Or
no, I just thought about Chris because he's the guy that's quite honestly getting me all day long saying, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Okay, so I know I said that was going to be your last question. Okay, final question though, because I want to make sure I ask this right. You've got ties to the Republican.
Where's the news?
You've obviously got ties to the Republican Party of Guam and everything. Do you think, kind of an analogy, when Bree announced that she would be running with Mike St-Nicholas, right? Do you think was the overall feeling of the GOP when they were messaging each other like in WhatsApp? Did they use that one like the Michael Jackson emoji when he's just like sitting there eating the popcorn saying, "Oh, let's watch this"? What is the feeling from the Republican side?
I think we were hoping that if it goes south, like, hey, come run as a Republican. So that would be the biggest thing. And I mean, obviously the tent's big and all ideas are welcome. So I think that's an important distinction. But I don't know about popcorn, but I think they're all looking at what's happening. And I think everyone, generally speaking, is pretty excited across the board. And I think that's all we can be. Whether you're at the store, you're with your families and talking about what happened. I mean, my WhatsApp was blowing up like crazy. So, and you know, it's just, that's the excitement that this particular campaign is bringing. So let's bring that to the ballot box and everyone get out there and vote.
Exactly.
Come August and come November.
All right. Beautifully said, man. Shawn, thank you so much, man. You know, always a member of the family and always good talking to you.
Oh, not a problem. And here to help you, Jay. And I know that we blew through the news and that's going to kind of carry into the next hour. But again, don't forget that That's All is on the KUAM Podcast Network. And we're very excited about being a part of it. Again, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio app. Did I miss anyone? Pandora. So, check it out.
We're on Pandora too. No, he's absolutely right. Okay. Hey, I want to share this with you before you hang up, right? One of my classmates actually talking about what the class of '92 is. Good morning, bro. A small group of alumni is planning a barbecue at one of our classmates' houses. There's a Facebook group that you have not joined.
So Jay, that means you got to find out where it's at, and then you need to go bring like the red rice or something.
There you go, and that's my classmate.
Don't bring napkins, Jay. Don't bring napkins. Now.
Yeah,
you need to bring something good.
Paper products and ice. I'm the guy. I'm that guy. But that's from my classmate, Dr. Anthony Sunga. So, Jay, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. Hey, Shawn.
Awesome.
Appreciate you too, man. Have a wonderful day, and best to Trish and the kids, man.
Oh, no worries. We're trying to get them out the door. I think I might have messed up some of that getting ready process. But yeah, Jay, have a great day. And Joe, sir, and Uncle Ken, you guys have a great day too. And everyone listening on the link, you guys have an awesome day and watch the road. It's a little crazy out there, but enjoy the day.
All right. Shawn Gumataotao coming to us from Talafofo, from God's country down there. So, Shawn, we appreciate it as always, man. Have a fantastic day. Guys. A man of many talents. So make sure to subscribe to the That's It, That's All podcast. You can find that on the KUAM Podcast Network. Man, big show coming up. We got a whole bunch more stuff, but let's get you up to speed on what happened